Greetings of peace once again. Congratulations for making it up to this point. We are done with lessons 1 to 10, and now it's lesson 11. I am Teacher Esperanza. My privilege to share with you HWPL Peace Education Lesson 11. The title of Lesson 11 is Law-Abiding Spirit and Law of Peace. Lesson 11 has 3 objectives. These are Objective 1, demonstrate the law-abiding spirit through the necessity of law. Objective 2, discuss that one needs to have traits of peace in order to observe law. And Objective 3, discourse that a binding law of peace is needed to achieve peace. What are the 3 key contents or key points of Lesson 11? Key point 1, law-abiding spirit. Key point 2, citizen of peace. And key point 3, International Legal Document of Peace, DPCW. Key point 1, law-abiding spirit. We are familiar with the term law-abiding citizen, but the term law-abiding spirit may be new to most of us. We will learn more about law-abiding spirit in Exploration 1. Key point 2, citizen of peace. Citizens of peace are those who have internalized traits of peace. We will know more about these traits of peace in Exploration 2. Key point 3, International Legal Document of Peace, DPCW. We will have a discourse about this in Exploration 3. The title of Exploration 1 is Law-Abiding Spirit, Basis of Law. Key point 1 question is, why is law needed? The answer is, a binding standard is needed for various people to live in harmony. Lesson 11 opens with a very touching story entitled Ubuntu. Ubuntu is an expression in Bantu language. Bantu languages are spoken largely east and south of the present-day country of Cameroon, in the regions commonly known as Central Africa, East Africa, and Southern Africa. In English, Ubuntu means, I am because we are. It is an ideology of African tradition and the root of African peace movement. What is the Ubuntu story? Let us watch this video. Charlie used to visit a remote village far from the city to work. He used to observe the children and take photos of them. He loved being surrounded by children. He spent time with them every day. One day, he decided to give them a gift. He bought some chocolates and gift-wrapped them. He called all the children to play a game. Whoever reaches the tree first gets the gift. The children waited for his signal to start. Can you guess what happened next? To his surprise, the kids held each other's hands, ran together towards the tree. They all reached at the same time. They distributed the chocolates evenly among themselves. Charlie asked them, "Why did you all run together? One of you could have run fast and had all the chocolates." A little girl said, "Ubuntu, how could any one of us be happy if others were sad?" It's not about you. It's not about me. It's about us. Together as one. Ubuntu. Did you enjoy watching the video? When you hear me say Ubuntu, what do I mean? I am because we are. Yes, that's right. Thank you. The opening story, Ubuntu, somehow introduced us to the concept of law-abiding spirit, which is a matter of the heart, and the character of a citizen of peace. In Exploration 1, we will learn more about the law-abiding spirit, the basis of law, as we discuss the following points. 1. The role of law. 2. Features of law. 3. Law-abiding spirit and examples. The role of law. Let us focus on the picture on the left side of the slide. For a person who lives alone in a place where there is no one, rules that must be kept are not needed. But if there is other person living in that place together, as shown on the right, then they will have to set up rules that need to be kept. What is the role or function of law? The law performs the role or function in preventing and solving conflicts and maintaining social order. In other words, law performs a role to solve conflicts between people fairly and maintain social order so that people cannot do unjust acts to create a peaceful society. People can live a safe and peaceful life by solving conflicts that occur among each other through law. Also, law became the standard to punish those who did wrong or did not keep the law. Again, why is law needed? Law is needed to maintain order and safety of all people living in a community. Now, let us learn about features of law. A law is more powerful than any other social norm existing within a country and has the power to control acts against public interest. A law may be characterized or classified by what we call as features of law, among which are purpose, regulation target, observance basis, in case of violation. A law which has a binding force is greatly differentiated from ethics, morals, and customs. What is the difference between law and morals according to the features of law? In terms of purpose, law focuses on realization of justice. Morals focus on realization of virtues. In terms of regulation target, law targets results of acts. Morals target conscience and motive. In terms of observance basis, law with force, morals with free will. In case of violation, law violator is punished by state. Morals, violator is criticized by society. Experience guilty conscience. Now, we will learn about law-abiding spirit and examples. Let us learn about the law-abiding spirit as we answer these questions. Question 1. Does the law exist for human or human exist for the law? What do you think? The answer is, of course, the law exists for human. Question 2. What if the law exists, but no one keeps the law? Even though a law exists, if the one that needs to keep the law does not keep the law, then the law is meaningless. Another question to ponder upon to understand the law-abiding spirit in a person is this one. Question 3. What if the law doesn't exist, but everyone keeps the inner law by consciousness? No law, but keeps inner law. Inner law is equal to law-abiding spirit. The value of the law is in its law-abidingness, which is the promise among the members of a society. When there are law-abiding citizens, a safe and peaceful order of society will be maintained, as these various people live in harmony. A law-abiding spirit understands the value of law. It is the law-abiding spirit in a person which enables that person to abide by the law. In other words, a law-abiding spirit is on the basis of the heart, the willingness to live in peace and harmony within a community. An example of a law-abiding spirit is the story entitled A Policeman Who Kept the Rules. This is a true story. The story features Sir Winston Churchill, former Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, sometime in the 1940s and again in the 1950s. What is this true story? A policeman who kept the rules. There was one incident with Winston Churchill who made his driver drive in a hurry. A traffic officer who checked speeding vehicles made the car stop. Then the driver yelled at the policeman, "Prime Minister Churchill is in the car." The policeman answered, "But speeding is speeding. I will give you a ticket, so please pay the fine." Prime Minister Churchill was displeased and said to the policeman, "Hey, do you know who I am?" Then the policeman answered, "Yes, you have the similar face as our Prime Minister, but not in how he abides by the law." Eventually, Prime Minister Churchill had to pay the fine. However, Churchill was deeply impressed by the traffic officer who performed his role faithfully. After Churchill came back to his office, he called the police chief and explained what had happened and ordered that policeman to get a special promotion. However, the policeman refused the order. There is no such special promotion for catching speeding vehicles. Even though things did not turn out the way that Churchill hoped, but he was satisfied to see the policeman working to follow the rules. This story is an example of a law-abiding spirit. For analysis 1, we should be able to consider specific cases to illustrate the difference between law and morals. For challenge 1, let us do research and present good cases regarding the law-abiding spirit. For evaluation 1, we will provide answer to the question, why is law needed in the society? Let us move on to exploration 2, which elaborates key point 2. Exploration 2 is entitled Citizen of Peace, a Walking Law of Peace. In here, we will answer the question, who are the citizens of peace? At this initial stage, the answer we can give is, we call citizens of peace those who have internalized traits of peace and those who are a walking law of peace. As we move on, we will learn more about citizens of peace. Exploration 2 opens with a very meaningful poem from an anonymous author. Let us read in chorus with heartful tone and modulated voice. If there is to be peace in the world, there must be peace in the nations. If there is to be peace in the nations, there must be peace in the cities. If there is to be peace in the cities, there must be peace between neighbors. If there is to be peace between neighbors, there must be peace in the home. If there is to be peace in the home, there must be peace in the heart. If there is to be peace in the heart, there must be peace in our world. Is world peace possible? Yes, we can achieve world peace, but we must become citizens of peace. How? Through peace education. In exploration 2, we will learn about I, who have the character of peace, a walking law of peace. Second, necessity of citizens of peace and their role. Let us focus on this slide. I, who have the character of peace, a walking law of peace. What are the character traits of peace? The traits of peace refer to the characteristics based on the values to achieve peace. We have learned these traits of peace in our previous lessons. Harmony, diversity, coexistence, order, love, gratitude, consideration, sacrifice, forgiveness, respect, preservation of heritage, law-abiding spirit, courage. We have looked at each trait's meaning and the ways of practice. What would happen if we have these traits of peace? We would have the power to overcome greed, which is one of the reasons that break order in our society. Furthermore, one would realize his or her own value and exert good influence on others. The restoration of one's character is connected to the restoration of order in the world, and it becomes an important starting point for world peace. We need citizens of peace who have the mindset to use science and technology peacefully for the prosperity of humanity. Now, we understand that a citizen of peace is a person who has the character and traits of peace. The traits of peace refer to the characteristics based on values to achieve peace. The traits of peace means the value of peace is instilled in oneself. That is why a person who has the character of peace is called a walking law of peace. Now, let us learn more about the necessity of citizens of peace and their role. How can people become citizens of peace? People can become citizens of peace through peace education. Citizens of peace perform the role to stop wars from armed forces by becoming messengers of peace and become leaders to solve various conflicts by peaceful means. For analysis 2, let us find citizens of peace around us who can live without law and talk about why those people can be called as citizens of peace. We can provide answers also to the question, in order to become a citizen of peace, what are the things we need to do? Let us share our thoughts with others. On the slide, we can read, wanted, citizens of peace. While we have been entrusted the work of a peace educator, we consider ourselves as peace education students also, right? Yes. So, as we read the contents of this slide, let us take to heart every line that we will read as being addressed to us personally. Let us read in chorus, please. As a peace education student, I will learn about peace. I will understand the necessity of peace. I will understand the reasons why wars must be stopped. I will understand the process and ways to achieve peace. Through peace education, I can become a citizen of peace. When a culture of peace is spread to all parts of the world, it will be difficult to start a war with the greed of a few. It will be the beginning to achieve a lasting peace. Now, let us have a simple evaluation of what we have learned so far in Exploration 2 of Lesson 11 by answering the following questions. First, who are the citizens of peace? Second, what are the character traits of citizens of peace? Third, what are their roles in the society? Moving on to Exploration 3. The title of Exploration 3 of Lesson 11 is International Document of Peace, Declaration of Peace and Cessation of War, DPCW. Key point 3 question is, why is the law of peace needed? The answer is, a legal instrument is needed to end wars and achieve world peace. On the screen are quotations from our peace advocate Mon Hill Lee, chairman of HWPL. Let us read one quotation at a time. Let us start from upper left, top to bottom, then move on to upper right, top to bottom. We are all one under the earth. We cannot destroy this beautiful earth with wars. We cannot lose our lives from wars. World peace and cessation of war. We can do it if we do it. The answer? DPCW with its 10 articles and 38 clauses. In Exploration 3, we will learn about first, necessity of International Legal Document of Peace, DPCW. Second, the value of DPCW's 10 articles and 38 clauses and its contents. Third, process of realizing the DPCW. Let us discourse the necessity of International Legal Document of Peace, DPCW. What is the International Legal Document of Peace, DPCW? DPCW means Declaration of Peace, Cessation of War. DPCW proclaimed on March 14, 2016 is an international document with 10 articles and 38 clauses. There is a need for a legal framework to secure peace at both national and international levels, and the assurance of peace in the form of an international agreement or law to pave the way for developing peace processes in our world. An International Law Peace Committee comprised of 21 law experts was established to draft the 10 articles and 38 clauses of DPCW. Why do we need the International Legal Document of Peace, DPCW? We can state 3 reasons why we need DPCW. First reason, current international law does not include articles that can end wars completely on earth. Second, peace is not a problem of one country, but the problem that should be solved at an international level. Third, a standard is needed for all citizens of peace to keep and monitor. The DPCW becomes the standard of peace, and the citizens of peace become the eyes and ears to monitor and see if the DPCW is kept to end wars completely on earth. To better understand the content of DPCW, let us watch this video.
Article 1. Prohibit the threat or use of force. Article 2. Reduce war potential and repurpose weapons to benefit humanity. Article 3. Develop friendly relations and prohibit acts of aggression. Article 4. Prohibit coercion against internationally recognized state boundaries. Article 5. Ensure the right to self-determination of peoples or states. Article 6. Settle international disputes through peaceful means. Article 7. Acknowledge the right to self-defense. Article 8. Foster religious freedom. Article 9. Promote peaceful coexistence amongst religious and ethnic groups. Article 10. Spread a culture of peace. The signatories to the present declaration do hereby urge that all efforts be made so that this declaration is adopted and respected by all states.
At this point, I hope we have gained a better understanding of DPCW. Now, let us learn the value of DPCW's 10 articles and 38 clauses and its contents. The DPCW offers a solution for rooting out the causes of armed conflicts. It proposes a complete mechanism, prevention of conflict, resolution of conflict, and maintenance of peace. What are the 10 articles of DPCW? Articles 1 to 5 are on the prevention of conflict. Articles 6 and 7 are on the mediation and resolution of conflict. And Articles 8 to 10 are on sustainable peace. Now, let us learn about the process of realizing the DPCW. The first step in the process is the campaign called Legislate Peace of citizens around the world. Peace cannot be sustainable and secured only with certain sectors of society or systems. So HWPL planned out an international legal instrument of peace and various activities to implement the DPCW around the world with civil society. Legislate Peace is a bottom-up campaign to establish an international law of peace and solve numerous conflicts by peaceful means. This campaign is spreading throughout the world with the active participation of civil society. Women and youth of civil society are becoming one and urging their heads of states to carry out appropriate actions. The following are the specific activities: signature project for the DPCW, collecting signatures and letters supporting the DPCW, peace walk, conferences, forums, seminars, and lectures urging support for the DPCW, installing peace monuments, and establishing peace museums. The process also involves national support and adoption by the UN General Assembly, HWPL aims to develop the DPCW into a legally binding international document of peace. For this, the DPCW will be introduced to the United Nations General Assembly as a resolution. Still, another inclusion in the process is civil society acting as observers. When the DPCW is adopted by the United Nations General Assembly as a resolution, it will be implemented by having a binding force through international institutions such as the United Nations and the International Court of Justice. Civil society comprised of citizens of peace will act as observers. The powerful driving force of the DPCW that shows its effectiveness is in the civil society, especially the International Women's Peace Group, IWPG, and International Peace Youth Group, IPYG, play a key role urging for peace and cessation of war. For Analysis 3, we will watch the discourse video entitled Output of Education and Rule of Law in Building Peace and Achieving the Cessation of War. Legalizing Peace through the DPCW and Raising Peace Messengers through Education. Shared during the Second National Peace Convention held on April 20, 2024.
With the proclamation of the Declaration of World Peace, HWPL was established with a mission to make a world of peace, free of wars and hostilities. HWPL aims to develop a strong legal instrument that will ensure peace in the world so that everyone can live peacefully. The 10 articles and 38 clauses of the Declaration of Peace and Cessation of War were proclaimed in the Republic of Korea, crafted by 19 international law experts from different nations. For the DPCW to become legally binding, it must be adopted by an intergovernmental organization, such as the United Nations. Internationally, DPCW garnered support from the governments of Eswatini, Seychelles, Comoros, and Antigua and Barbuda. Also, the Central American Parliament passed a resolution in support of the DPCW. Additionally, the Pan-African Parliament signed an MOU with HWPL supporting the DPCW. Meanwhile, in the Philippines, the DPCW garnered support from 5 municipal resolutions: Kapalong, Davao del Norte; Los Baños, Laguna; Solano, Nueva Vizcaya; Manguda, Dato, Maguindanao; Hinigaran, Negros Occidental. 4 city resolutions: Davao City, Cotabato City, Manila City, and Pasig City. 1 provincial resolution by the province of Davao de Oro, and 1 regional resolution from the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao. With its current momentum, the DPCW in the Philippines is one step closer to reaching national support. During the first National Peace Convention, Filipinos representing the lawmakers, cultural and religious leaders, educators, youth and women leaders, and press media all agreed to support the DPCW, calling the President to support DPCW at a national level.
Declaration further urging His Excellency President Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. to declare through Presidential Proclamation January 24 a special working holiday being National Peace Day.
Any objection? Hearing none, the resolution is approved and adopted.
And on January 26, 2023, Chief Minister Ahud Ibrahim signed his support for DPCW and declared once again January 24 as Peace Day in Barm.
Again declare January 24 Peace Day for the Bangsamoro and the HWPL.
About 9 years ago, The province of Maguindanao was the first to declare January 24 as Peace Day in the province. During the September 18, 2023 World Peace Summit in Korea, a joint statement was released for the implementation of the DPCW.
We will try our best, maybe a way out in order that we can reach out to the President.
Particularly, we call upon His Excellency President Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. to support the DPCW. Peace advocates in the Philippines are collaboratively working together, aiming for the Philippines to be the sponsor of DPCW at the UN level. They are working hard to write in history, Philippines is the champion of world peace. Imagine a world of peace with only love and justice prevails. In a world aligned with the 10 articles of the DPCW, nations resolve conflicts peacefully. Military resources are redirected to development and welfare. Respect for sovereignty and equality fosters friendly relations. Respect for state boundaries is paramount. Peoples have the right to self-determination. Disputes are settled through dialogue and mediation. Nations retain the right to self-defense. Religious and ethnic harmony is promoted, with freedom of belief upheld. Religious and ethnic diversity promote peace. Education spreads the values of peace, justice, and love to future generations. The DPCW would serve as a guiding framework for international relations, promoting a vision of a world where peace is not just the absence of war, but the presence of justice, love, and understanding among all peoples. Peace to all. DPCW.
For Challenge 3, you may choose any one of the given take-home, mind, and heart and hand work in one. Compose a peace letter addressed to the person or persons of your choice. Create a peace poster. Conceptualize a peace slogan. Now, let us have a simple evaluation of what we have learned so far in Exploration 3 of Lesson 11. Answer briefly based on your understanding of the lesson. Why is the international law of peace needed? We have just discoursed the contents of Lesson 11. On our screen, we have the summary of Lesson 11 in diagram form. The title of Lesson 11 is Law-Abiding Spirit and Law of Peace. We have 3 objectives in this lesson, each achieved in Explorations 1, 2, and 3. In Exploration 1, entitled Law-Abiding Spirit, Basis of Law, we watched the video Ubuntu for our opening story and moved on to discuss about role of law, law-abiding spirit and examples, features of law, inner law. In Exploration 2, entitled Citizen of Peace, A Walking Law of Peace, we recited the poem If There Is, There Must Be, and moved on to discuss I Who Have the Character of Peace, A Walking Law of Peace, and the necessity of citizens of peace and their role. In Exploration 3, entitled International Document of Peace, DPCW, we had the choral reading of the quotes of peace advocate Man Hee Lee, chairman of HWPL. And to better understand the contents of DPCW, we watched the video which showed us the 10 articles of DPCW. We provided answers also to the following questions. What is DPCW? Why do we need DPCW? And how do we realize DPCW? To conclude Lesson 11, let us read the contents of the slide. The law-abiding spirit, willing to keep the law, maintain order, and protect peace. Law is the minimum norm for the social order, and the value of law is in its law-abidingness. The law-abiding spirit should be on the basis of the heart, willing to keep the law, maintain order, and protect peace. The law-abiding spirit is one of the traits of peace that can realize peace in the world. Citizens of peace, those who have internalized traits of peace, and those who are a walking law of peace. Citizens of peace refer to those who have the traits of peace. A person becomes a pianist by learning the piano, and a person becomes a scientist by learning science. Like this, a person who learns peace education can become a citizen of peace. The citizens of peace urge for the restoration of order in humanity and cessation of war. Also, they act as observers so that peace does not break. Peace is an essential element for the sustainable development of humanity. Therefore, the importance of peace education and citizens of peace is being emphasized more and more. International Legal Document of Peace, DPCW. Current international law cannot end wars completely on earth. So a legal instrument is needed to end wars and achieve world peace. The 10 articles and 38 clauses of DPCW are drafted as an international legal document of peace in order to achieve a complete peace. The goal is to have the DPCW adopted as a legally binding instrument. Various sectors of society, including youth and women, act as observers to enforce the DPCW. Through the DPCW, cessation of war and world peace will be achieved, and it will be left as a legacy to the future generations. Ladies and gentlemen, take a look at the night sky. There are so many stars that you cannot even count. Some people say that there are greater things in the universe than the earth. However, they have not found a star like the earth, where living things can live. Should we destroy such a great place like the earth? Please think about this. If a war breaks out now, then it will not be a war like those in the past. It will be a war where the earth will be destroyed completely. After the war breaks out, what can we do? Right at this time, we have to put a system so that a war will never occur ever again. Let us gain insight from these words of wisdom of HWPL Chairman Man Hee Lee. Precious teachers, I hope that you will have a delighting teaching learning experience as you dedicate yourself to spread the culture of peace through peace education. You will now move on to Lesson 12. Congratulations! Thank you.